Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. Got a lot to talk about in a little bit of time. The Knicks play tonight, 7:30 at Madison Square Garden against the Los Angeles Clippers. I believe this is the first game James Harden will be playing. We'll talk about last week's games. We'll talk a little bit about Randle. We'll talk about the team offensively and defensively. We'll get into next week's games, and then we are out of here. Let me bring in the panel. Uh-oh, wrong one. All right, there we go. Got Lady and the Chef, got DJ Shuttle. How you two doing? Shout out to the chat, by the way.
I'm good. Thanks for having me
Of
on this
course.
Monday. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the panel. Good.
All aboard New York next Monday night. Let's do it.
Let's do it. For those that don't know, Lady and the Chef is part of the two Knicks chicks. If you've been following me, I've been pumping them up. We're trying to get them to 100 subscribers. Then they get that custom URL.
Right.
So yeah, if you haven't already, just search in the go to YouTube in the search bar, put the number two Knicks Chicks, CHICKS, and subscribe to the channel. You're gonna get a little piece of what she's about tonight if you haven't heard her already. All right, let's get right to it. All right, we have to do it this way. All right. Of course, I'm on the wrong. Oh no, this is right. This is just a snapshot of what's happened since we were last here last week. We were 1-2 the last show. Now we're 2-4. So we went 1-2 on the week. We were 13th in the standings last week. We're 11th. It's kind of early, so I'm not putting too much into the Eastern Conference standings. We've lost 2 straight till Milwaukee and Cleveland. Our offensive rating is 29, which is next to last in the league. Our defensive rating is 3. And we'll talk about whether or not we think that'll hold for the season if the Knicks can be one of the better defensive teams. Our net rating is 0.2, slimmest of margins between our offense and our defense. And basically, it's been our defense that's kept us in games and made them somewhat winnable, even though, in my opinion, we just didn't shoot well enough to close them out. I just want to give us a little recap of the games we've played. We beat Cleveland at Cleveland, 109-91. Randle, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Not his most efficient game. Brunson, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Also not his most efficient game. Quickly, 18 points, 3 rebounds, 3 threes. RJ Barrett, this is the only game he played last week. 16 points, 3 rebounds, 3 threes, 60% from the three-point line, 75% from the field. This might have been our best shooting game of the week. 44.2% from the field, 38.2% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line. We played Cleveland again on a home and home. So this was at Madison Square Garden. We lost 89-95. Brunson, 25 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Quickly, 18.6 rebounds, 4 assists. DiVincenzo. We had a DiVincenzo showing. This was one of his better games as a Knick. 16 points, 2 steals, 3 3-pointers. He shot efficiently from the field and from the three-point line, but not so much from the free throw line. As a matter of fact, neither did the Knicks. Robinson, 5 points, 16 rebounds, 2 blocks. And the Knicks shot 16.7% from the three-point line, 66.7% from the free throw line. It's hard to win games like that. Then on till Milwaukee, where we lost by 5, 105-110. We took, I think, a 1-point lead under 2 minutes, maybe even under a minute, but I'm pretty sure under 2 minutes. And we just couldn't close it out. Brunson, 45 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. His most efficient game to date, though he only shot 25% from 3. I think he only took 2 3-pointers. Grimes, we had a Grimes showing. Grimes was in his bag a little bit. We'll talk about that as well. I saw him dribbling the ball. I saw him fake, took a sidestep, pull up for 3. I saw him lead the break. I think Grimes has been watching these shows, watching the panelists get on him for being one-dimensional and all of this work he's doing with Penny and JJ Redick and nothing to show for it. And he said, all right, I got something for you. 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Didn't get to the line, but very efficient from the field. Randle, 16 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. You couldn't tell. You couldn't tell if you go back and you think about that Milwaukee game. Not very efficient though. 25% from the field, 11% from the free throw line, 55.6% from the free throw line, and then quick 14 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Pretty efficient, overall and from the free throw line, but not too bad. 33.3% for 3. A lot of fans thought he should have closed out that game in Milwaukee over Josh Hart, who's been a hot mess. But we'll talk about that. The Knicks were 40% from the field, 25.6% from 3, 76% from the free throw line. Yeah. Let me get back to the panel. What, Lady and the Chef and DJ Shutter, when he gets back, what stood out for you this past week, offensively, defensively, team-wise, individual-wise? You can touch on Randle a little bit if you want to, but we'll have an entire segment for him. Just your thoughts.
Well, for one thing that definitely stood out for me was the three-point shooting. I think the Knicks are settling too much for the threes. I know my mom says it on our show, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the Knicks are taking way too many threes and we're just not knocking them down. It'd be one thing if we were knocking a 3-point shot down, right? But it's funny, we're taking a lot of threes, we're not knocking them down. And then we're also struggling guarding the perimeter 3-point shots, right, from the on the defensive end. So that's one thing, looking at the percentages, that is just terrible for the Knicks. I would like to see the Knicks drive and penetrate to the basket more, and I think that's where we miss RJ. RJ's not afraid to, quickly like Brunson, he knows how to create his own and get to the basket. But looking at those percentages, that you just had on your slides, the 3-point shot has definitely hurt us, as well as the defense on the perimeter. So I think those are two things that the Knicks need to figure out. And if you're not knocking down shots, whether it's the 3 or the mid-range, the Knicks need to figure out how to get to the basket, draw the foul, stop the clock, and knock down the free throws too, because that's also been a problem for us as well.
No doubt. And to your point, I was going to show this later, but I'll show it real quick, and then we'll get to you, DJ Shuttle. If you look at our field goal percentage, 39, the percentage is in parentheses. The first number is where we rank in the league. Mm-hmm. So field goal percentage, we're ranked 30th out of 30 teams. Shooting 39.9% from the field. 3-point percentage, we're ranked 24th. At 32.4%. And to your point about free throw shooting, we're ranked 27th out of 30 teams, shooting just 70.4% from the field. Now, what helps us is if you look at the attempts, and this has been our MO even last season, we're number 4 in attempts, as far as getting up shots. We're number 8 in getting up 3-point shots. We're number 6 in getting to the line. And I think our strategy is we don't do it well. So let's get there as much as we can. So if we get there more than the other team, maybe we can squeeze out more points than the other team. But to your point, Lady and the Chef, we're not shooting well. I don't care how you, from 2, from 3, we're not shooting well. And as a matter of fact, it's not here. But from the 2-point line, forget the threes, from the 2-point line, we're also the worst in the league. We're ranked 30th.
Yeah. Well, when you consider how bad the 3-point percentage is, you can't imagine that the 2-point percentage is going to be much better either. What I didn't see, and this is in no way a slight on the stats because everything looks amazing and it's a lot of great detail, was the offensive rebounds though, because that's what's saving us. Just like as you kind of alluded to last year's philosophy as well, you just got to get offensive boards. Josh Hart, obviously an excellent rebounder. Mitch probably having his best run rebounding wise.
Correct.
And even though him and his trainer complaining about not getting any passes and plays run for him, I don't care about all that. Just keep getting the rebounds you've been getting.
Yeah, give that up. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Listen, that was telepathic. So, you know what I mean? But as far as the team goes, I mean, the team's 0-2 without RJ.
Yeah.
I banged the table for a fast start without for RJ, and he's delivered.
Yep.
So I'm definitely seeing that as a positive sign. But I see on the defensive end, I can't really rely much on anything beyond Grimes and Mitch, and and just overall collectively as a team, it just feels like the team has ankle weights on, like Brunson, Randle. I mean, even Hart doesn't have the bounce he had last year. I mean, it's not to say that Hart's not playing hard, because he's still, Hart is still Hart, but it's not the bounce he had last year. It's like last year,
Flying out of bounds. Yeah.
it didn't matter where the ball was. It's like, it's like a magnet for him in the ball. So
Right.
like, I'm not getting that kind of energy from him. DiVincenzo, he showed a little buzz, like he's trying to make himself known that he just got here a little bit. Quickly, he's been inconsistent, but he looked like he playing for that contract, like everybody told me he wasn't gonna do. Like everybody said he wasn't gonna do, but I don't know what y'all looking at, but I told y'all what Quickly minutes was gonna be, and they're gonna be what they're gonna be, and that's what that's gonna be. So overall, though, I just think the team has to get their legs from under them. As much as it is Randle, it's everybody else too. It's Brunson. Like that shot that Brunson missed that led to the lackadaisical Matador deal against the Bucks at the end of the game. Like that's a shot Brunson makes, or at least gets a foul on more than most occasions. So Brunson's got to tighten up. He's got to get his legs. Randall's got to get his legs. Hart's got to get his legs. I mean, like the whole team's like, it's like they're like a step slow. It feels like they just got the training camp.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest concern.
Yeah. No doubt about it. Quickly though, I mean, I get you. There's been some times when I thought he was a little helter-skelter, but there was one game, I think it was the Cleveland game. I felt like we needed him to be helter-skelter. I felt like we couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, he was the only one. He was the only one that had it.
And in situations like that, you do force it a little bit. I think the fan base has been getting on Brunson, particularly in a 45 game, against Milwaukee, for not passing. But if you look at the shooting percentages of the players on the team, sometimes you just have to do that when players just don't have it, and they don't have it. I'm not going to keep going to the well hoping this time is going to be it. You know what I mean? Because I know what I can do. So, I agree with the fan base. Brunson, has to get better at knowing when to go for his and when to pass, because he's somebody, and Randle, they can get their shot at any time. And we have a lot of players on our team that just can't create. Well, I don't know about a lot of players, but some players on the team who can't create their own shot. I think Randle, Randle, Quick, Brunson, and RJ might be the only ones on the team that can create their own shots.
Yeah.
And
I slightly digress on Randle, because and the only reason why I say that is because just looking, I mean, we know what happened last season, but just in general, looking at Randle's style of play, when he has the ball one-on-one, if you really pay attention, Randle was exposed last year in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. He could not find his way to the basket one-on-one and get his man off of him one-on-one. Miami wasn't necessarily double teaming him. And even if you look at the past few games so far at the start of this season, when Randle has that ball on one-on-one, he gets to dribbling. It's a little bit too much dribble, and then it turns into a sloppy turnover because he's making it harder for himself.
Right.
When he's trying to create that play. When he's pounding down and has that ball and he's chest pounding that player, he does that well, and he can get that fadeaway and make that shot.
Right.
But sometimes it's too much of a move that he's trying to do. And I'm like, dude, you making it so much. I feel like as if I'm playing a video game and I'm not that good at the game, and the person who's good at it is like, yo, you know you could hit these two little buttons right here. And with him, I'm making it harder. So when I watch him, sometimes I'm like, yo, you making it way too hard for yourself just to get to that basket and score for us in the paint.
Right.
And Shuttle, what you were saying with the rebounds, shout out to Mitch for getting those offensive boards for us and Hart. But the problem goes back to what we just said. These guys are knock it out. They getting the rebound, but we can't knock down a shot.
Right.
So this is the problem. We can't knock down a shot. How many times Mitch is working hard to get a rebound? He's trying to tip it out, getting the rebound, throwing it back out to the top of the key, and we can't even get a shot down. That's the problem.
No doubt about it. I wanted to ask you a question. How much of Randle's difficulty going one-on-one in the playoffs and early in the season do you attribute to a possible ankle injury, or do you feel he's just not good one-on-one?
No. Let's stop with the ankle. Seriously, let's stop with the ankle. It's not the ankle. Even pre-ankle injury, Randle struggles getting to that basket. If you look at the way quickly he's able to get to the basket, or Brunson, Dame Lillard, you look at a lot of guys, KD, they can get to the basket one-on-one. And that's part of the game of basketball, is having that skill when you get that ball to be able to get your man off you, no matter what kind of move that entails under your belt that you need to do to get yourself free, whether you're going to get past your man or you're going to get your man off of you and create enough space so you can shoot that jumper.
Right.
He struggles doing that. And now it's taking up too much time. Now it's 3 seconds left. We have to throw up a quick shot, and we're lucky if we make that shot, but it's too much time wasted. So I think part of that is that's not his forte, the one-on-one for me. To me, it's not the ankle injury.
Randle has no bag. He has no bag. That's the bottom line. He has to get the ball, be explosive, and have a quick first step. Boom, boom. Go for the shot, pull up jumper, or go for the layup, or pass it quick. The first couple of games, he was actually passing it quick, and I commended him after the first week. But now he's kind of regressing back to the Randle people know to love and hate.
Right.
But he's not the only one, though. RJ don't really have no bag. Even Brunson got a little bag, but it's kind of like the footwork bag. And like even for him, the shots he get, like there's nobody that can get easy shots. Quickly's about the closest, and his easiest shot is like a floater that I'm not like, oh, I like that shot. So yeah, we have nobody that gets easy shots. No one.
Right.
It's a jump shooting team. And then if you live by the D, you die by the three, as I heard earlier.
Right.
And that's what it is.
I think Brunson has a bag. I think everybody's bag is a little different, and it's a footwork bag, but it gets the job done. I hear you when you say, when it comes to, RJ Barrett, and Randle. I thought Randle was, better last year because, like you said, he just made quick shots. He just got to his spot and pulled up for the shot quickly. He didn't need a lot of dribbling. He didn't need a lot of moving from side to side. It was just whap, whap, up. And I was like, wow, he's pretty efficient in his movements. Like he knows where his spots is. He get there and boom, he takes the shot. You're right. That's not happening. That's not happening this year. And I wonder if teams saw how Miami played us last year. Miami just packed the middle and dared the Knicks. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us because you hit your outside shots, but you ain't getting nothing in here. Right. And Randle talked about feeling crowded and, them packing it in. I'm not sure, what the answer is, other than in your shots.
I compare him I'm not saying he's a player comp to Giannis, but how Giannis really don't have a 3-point shot. Then they had the Giannis wall and that whole thing. But Giannis had Chris Middleton. Now he got Dame Lillard. Brook Lopez hits threes, so he can euro from the top of the key all the way in, and then he can dish it out. And he got players that can really make shots. And again, that's why I commended Randle for dishing the ball the first couple of games, but then people really weren't hitting at the rate that they could have, even though he was averaging 6 or 6 for the first couple of games. But yeah, shooters got to hit more efficiently, and he's got to have the vision to see them. And either you're going to be a point forward and be a creator and dish because you don't really got the full bag to get all the way to the hoop by yourself, or you got to relax and come off the ball. Oh no, the villain.
I don't know if you guys heard what Tom Thibodeau said after the game. There was an article, basically asking, was he low key talking about Randle, and basically pretty forcefully, for Tibbs, seemed to be a little strong. We got to trust the pad. Like he always says, the game will tell you what to do, but he seemed like a little perturbed, in that press conference. Like, you got to pass the ball. It's easy. You have it or you don't. You take the shot or you pass it. Like, it's nothing difficult about this. And I was wondering if he was low-key talking about, Randle in the sense of read the defense, stop forcing it, pass the ball. Why are you waiting so long? Anyway, Ajay, how are you?
Salute Queen, DJ Shuttle, Lady and the Chef, happy to be here. Sorry I'm a little late, but the Queen, I'm not late. You're early. What is this 6:30 stuff, man? Come on, you know we marauders, we midnight marauders. We go at night.
Yeah, we are, but the
finish
Knicks
at
play
1:30.
Yeah, I know. But the Knicks play at 7:30, so I'm trying to get in and out.
I know.
What's your thoughts, on what you've seen thus far, and then we're going to move to the Randle segment, though we've talked a lot about him already.
Man, what I've seen so far, I don't know, Queen. I'm not worried, but I'm not happy. How's that? Like, I'm somewhere in between. Like, listen, it's an 82 game season. You just got to wait and see. This is not the NFL where you lose 6 games, you out, your season's over. But listen, there's a lot of hoops. There's a lot of basketball to go. I mean, we've seen teams have worse start than this, and they pick it up somewhere around the holidays, and then next thing you know, they top seeded. They wanted the best. But listen, we know what our guys can do. They're not there yet. They're not in the form, in the shape that they would normally be. Speaking of guys like Julius Randle, and as you were saying, or actually, Sam was talking about that earlier on his show, Sam and Andy. We need Julius Randle to be Julius Randle. People who don't like Julius Randle, I don't understand how they don't, because he's a central part of the team. We can't win. We can't go. Some people say we can go but so far without him, with him, but we can go but so far without him. I'm saying we need him. So I mean, if as you can see, if he's not playing Julius Randle basketball in the Knicks universe, we can't get nowhere. So to answer your question, I'm not happy, but I'm not petrified either. Like, I'm somewhere in between. You just wait and see. Let's see what happens. Kind of mood here.
Okay. Shout out to the chat. I see you, Chris, Walter White, Keith Turner, Karen Fung, excuse me, and everybody else that's in the chat. To your point, DJ Shuttle, earlier, as far as our defense is concerned, we're number 4 in defensive rebounding, number 2 in offensive rebounding at 14.8. And Mitch is a big part of that. Randle is a big part of that. Josh Hart and Hartenstein, I believe those are our top 4 offensive rebounders, but Mitch, is the best by far. All right, let's get into Julius Randle. Let me get my questions that I got a lot of them too. A lot going on in Knick universe about Julius Randle, so I'm really interested to see what the panel has to say. All right, so this is his stats through 6 games last year and this year. We were 3-3 last year. We're 2-4 this year. He averaged, I remember him getting off to a slow start last season, which is why I brought, dug these stats up. 18-3, 9 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 15.3 assist percentage. And for those who don't know, that's the percentage of the Knicks made field goals that Julius Randle has assisted on. He shot 43.8% from the field last season, 24% from three, 70% from the three-point line to start the season. Obviously, is much worse this season, but I brought this up just to give us a little hope that he struggled a little bit through 6 games last season, and he turned it around. So hopefully he can do it again, and not for his sake. Like Ajay said, for our sake. A lot of us came into the season with high hopes that we'll get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So what I understand about Nick, we're going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. We're going to take it one step for Julius Randle. I knew he wasn't the guy. But you thought we was going to the Eastern Conference. How did you think we were going? Anyway, RJ Barrett has missed 2 games. And I think that has a lot to do. We very well could be 4-2 or 3-3 if RJ plays in these 2 games. And that's how well RJ has been playing through the first 4 games of the season. But what are you seeing from Julius Randle? And are you concerned at all that he won't turn the corner? Lady in the Chef, then DJ Shuttle, Ajay.
No, I'm not concerned. I agree with Ajay that I believe that the Knicks can turn around. It's just unfortunate because, the same way like Shuttle, you was saying with RJ, you want him off to a quick start. For me, I feel like how the Knicks came together last season, to me, I was expecting that togetherness, that cohesion to follow into this season. And I feel like the Knicks seem to be 1 or 2 steps too slow to start off this season, almost like as if they needed another month or 2 before we started the season. But I'm not concerned as far as Randle is concerned. I just think there's a lot of indecisiveness on his end. He's second guessing his passing. I think the decision making on his passing is questionable. The example with Giannis is able to Euro step and go in and throw out those passes. Yes, he has shooters, but I think it's the decision making and the vision on the passes that he's making. And with Randle, sometimes it's just a sloppy pass, or it's not to the right guy, or, I know you spoke about on one of your podcasts. I think BX Chris had brought it up to you where DiVincenzo had went to throw the pass when Randle went to set the screen. He didn't roll to where the ball was going. So it's just like little things like that I feel like as long as you've been in this league, it's playing smarter and having a better sense of smarts to your game, and I just think together overall, you would think that Randle would, again, and it's still very early in the season, I'm not concerned, but I just think that, you can't let a bad call or something that one of your teammates did trickle down into your game for that entire game. So I think he has to learn to brush that off and continue to play through it. So I just think that he just has to switch his decision making and make better decisions on the court and just relax, just play your game, let the game come to you. He's trying too hard, in my opinion. Right. And he just needs to go back to what he was doing. Make those quicker decisions, but just be mindful of the decisions that you're making.
Right. What do you think it is that last season he seemed to have turned the corner on that, making, quick decisions, getting to his spots quickly. But now this season, there seems to be a regression. Obviously we don't know with any certainty what it is, but what do you think it is?
I don't know. I think it's more personal. I think he's in his head. It's just same thing like how we were saying with RJ, how it's more of a mental thing. And I think sometimes guys get in their own head and that affects their play. You know what I mean? It's a game of mental capacity also to playing basketball. Right. And I think with him, it is a mental thing that he gets this block and then it affects his game and his play for that night, and I just think sometimes whether you're on or you're off, I see my thing with Randle too, is that if you're not doing You're not knocking down your shots or doing, X, Y, and Z. Do the other intangibles to contribute towards that W. You know what I mean? Because sure, yeah, Brunson, you scored 45 points, but we still didn't get the win. And these in-season tournament games count towards the regular season.
Right.
But what I want to see is if he's not knocking down his mid-range or his three, help Mitch out on the boards. You know what I mean? Set them good screens. Do the other intangibles so that'll help your team get that W, and that'll contribute where we can say, but you know what? He did do this. He was doing that. It's the little things that may not come up on the stats,
Right.
but those little things will help in the long run.
Right. And you're right. I think he did that in the first 3 to 4 games of the season, but these last 2 games, I agree. It's something he just seems off in terms of doing the other things.
Right.
DJ Shuttle, just what you've seen from Julius Randle, any concern at all that he won't turn it around?
Well, that's what I was going to start to allude to right there, which is that, I mean, he does have 25% of the assist, and he is averaging almost 11 rebounds a game. So forget about that's not coming in the stats. He has actual stats that are, tangible, valuable, contributions to the game and to the team. That being said, not hustling back with under a minute to play on a fast break, and you're gonna have the nerve to push Grimes. Like yo, you do something. Like, man, like who do you think you are? I'm back on that from last week.
Right.
Who do you think you are? Like, do something. Get back on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brunson missed the shot. He hustled back. He was back. Brunson was back.
Right.
So, I just like I grew up playing with older guys at a very, very young age. And I just found that there were guys that were a lot older that were not smarter than me on the basketball court. And I realized at a very young age that the IQ, no Emmanuel quickly intended, but the IQ on the court is just a thing. Like, either you have that or you don't have it. And as much as I've like been a supporter for Randle, and as much as I still want to support him, I just feel like that he, in spite of what he can do well, and in spite of us still needing him, I just feel like his IQ is just what it is. It's like, he's not the sharpest, or brightest light bulb in the socket. And, can he turn it around and shoot a higher percentage? Yes. Will he still be the guy that doesn't have a great IQ on the court and average 3 turnovers a game and let the shot clock run down and then try to pass to somebody with 2 seconds left on the clock and expect they're going to make a good shot? He's going to continue to do that even when he improves. So, can he turn the corner? Can he get better? Of course he can get better. He's not going to be 25%, for the season. He's not going to do that. But, he's going to continue to do what Randle does and make you want to scratch your head and bang your head against the wall sometimes.
See, when I see somebody who can do something sometime and can't do something another time, to me, that speaks to something different than IQ. Because if you don't have IQ, you don't have it. You know what I mean? And there's some games where he looks super sharp, and some stretches of games where he looks super sharp and the decision making is good and his processing is good. And then there's other games where you're like, yo, what the hell? On that play from when he didn't get back, you're not going to tell me that he doesn't know in transition defense you need to be even with the ball or below the ball. Like that ain't no IQ. That's just you upset, you and your feelings about whatever you and your feelings about, and you've made a decision that you're going to try it back. You know what I mean?
Chemical imbalance.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but there are some players who, when they're mentally out of the game, for whatever reason, whether they're frustrated with a call, whether they have an injury and they can't play the way they used to playing, whether they're not getting, whatever the reasons are, that they get frustrated and get out of the game, get mentally frustrated, it trickles down and impacts the rest of the game. And the reality of the matter is, obviously, he's one of the best players on this team. Like it or lump there's just no way around it. But if you're going to win a championship, he can't be the number one guy, even if he has the talent, because you have to be able to trust your number one guy that they're gonna be in the game mentally for 48 minutes. And I
Yeah,
don't think we can trust that. I'm not saying he can't be on the team. A lot of people feel like we trade him, get him, he needs to be off the team. I feel like he can still contribute on a championship team, but you can't be the number one guy if mentally something can happen and now all of a sudden your game has changed. Like you got to be reliable. And
emotional, emotional instability.
I thought he had turned the corner on that, but it's coming back. And you can't. I mean, he wasn't we all knew. I mean, I don't think anybody here thought he was the number one guy on a championship contending team, right? We knew that.
Now, didn't he have a Mr. Miyagi that was like getting his mind right before the games? Is his Mr. Miyagi still coming to the games?
No, he's gone. He's not. He's no longer with the Knicks. That guy.
Nah, they got to get him back. Mr. Miyagi, get him back.
I forgot his name, but he's no longer with the team.
That's Mr. Miyagi. Go get him. Get him back.
Yeah, they was like meditating during timeouts.
Go get him. Get that guy. Call him at halftime. FaceTime him before the games. Put him on retainer. I don't care what you got to do. You gotta have that guy, man. Like you got to know. It's like when you're in school and you have a child that has like emotional special needs. Like you have to do whatever it takes to get this person to be comfortable at school. And
but sometimes you feel like that the child has turned it around.
Nah,
excuse me.
Nah, respectfully, if you're having a problem with alcohol or drug abuse, you still go to meetings. And I say that respectfully. You still go. You still go to meetings. You don't go to meetings. You don't stop going because, I'm good now. You keep going to these meetings to keep your mind right and keep you focused. It's not about you got the game, you practice. You still got to practice.
Right. I will say for those who subscribe to the AA mentality, there's a lot of people in recovery that don't subscribe to AA. But yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from. How successful can this team be if he doesn't turn it around? Like, do you feel that the rest of it? All right, AJ, let me finish the question.
You know I'm going with that, Queen.
Any faith in the rest of the roster that they'll be able to pick it up and collectively, we can still have a successful season, whatever that looks like. Ajay, DJ Shuttle, then Lady in the Show.
It depends on what you call a successful season without Julius Randle. So you got to remember, and I don't know if you guys remember one time Giannis Antetokounmpo had a press conference, right, where a reporter asked him, did he see the season as a failure? He said, well, there's no failure in sports. He's wrong. There is failure in sports. At the beginning of the season, every team set a goal, right? Some teams, their goal is to develop players. Some teams, their goal is to, I don't know, make the play in. If you don't reach that goal, you fail. All right. So it depends on if Julius Randle doesn't get it right, do we recalibrate what our goal is for the season? Because if Julius Randle can't play, he's one of the top 2 players on the team, right? At least the past couple of seasons, that's what it's shown, right? 2 seasons ago, he didn't play well. We didn't even make the play in. All right. Because granted, it was a different team. You had players that were here, no longer here, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of moving parts, but we need him on this team. Okay. Yeah, we could win some games. I mean, it's NBA. Those guys are professional ball players. Those guys are talented. They work hard. We're gonna win some games, but we're not gonna get anywhere without Julius Randle or without a viable replacement for Julius Randle. It doesn't have to be him. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be somebody that gives you some sort of production that could, and by production, I don't mean somebody that's going to give you 25 and 10. It could be somebody that, I don't know, plays better defense, or somebody that grabbed more rebound, or I don't know, but they calibrate to balance what we're missing if Julius Randle is not doing what he's supposed to do. So how far can we go without Julius Randle? Right now, the way this team is constructed, I don't think we can go very far without Julius Randle playing. He doesn't have to play all NBA, but he has to play decent. It can't be that. I heard a stat that he's like 7% of his shots at the rim he's in. We can't get nowhere with that. Like, where do you go with that? That's those are my stats at my age. If you put me on the court, I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna hit 7% of the shots at the rim. You know what I mean? So I don't think we can get anywhere without his play. Like I said, we're gonna win some ball games, but we're not gonna, if God forbid we make it to the play-in, we're not gonna be able to. What team you gonna play? Top 8 team, you're gonna play 7 games, or 7-game series and win 4 games out of 7 without Julius Randle. It's just not gonna happen. I mean, this is the NBA, man. These are the best players in the world. Okay, if you don't put your best foot forward, you're just not gonna win. You can get lucky some nights, but it's just not gonna happen every night. Yeah. I don't think we could go too far without Julius Randle.
Yeah, before I hand it over to DJ Shuttle, I think sometimes as fans we underestimate how hard it is to be successful in the league and how hard it is to be at the top of the opposing team's scouting report and still score 20 and 10 or whatever, the top players do for their team. And that there's a difference when you're playing off of a guy and you're a role player and those guys are creating shots for you. There's a difference between that and you now being the guy. Sometimes people can make that transition. You look at Mikal Bridges, he made the transition. James Harden made the transition from playing off of KD and Russ to go into Houston and being that guy. Mikal Bridges playing off of KD and Booker to go into Brooklyn and somewhat, being the guy raising his level of play. But there's a lot of players who just can't do that. They're role players. And so if Randle can't go the way we need him to go, can RJ step up and be that guy? Can Grimes and quickly start? I think we're asking a lot. I'm not saying they can't, but I think we're asking a lot. DJ Shuttle?
Wait, I'm sorry. Before DJ Shuttle. So sorry, Shuttle. Queen, let's say RJ steps up and be that guy, right? Then you need somebody to fill in RJ's spot that he was doing before.
Right.
You need quickly step ups. You need somebody to fill that in. So
Right.
you need, there's a lot of shifting you got to do around. Even if RJ becomes the 25 and 10 guy, an efficient 25 and 10, you need somebody else to pick up some slack somewhere else. Right. Yeah, DiVincenzo could probably, but how many minutes? Then it becomes, how do you share the minutes? It becomes a puzzle that obviously the coaching staff's going to have to work on. Sorry, Shuttle, go ahead.
Right. And we are getting ahead of ourselves. I'm just curious.
Oh, no, it's all good. I don't think we're getting too far ahead of ourselves, though, because we got to look at what's happening here. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the flip-flop seasons for Randle. So there's, it's like, not a good season, all NBA. Not a good season, all NBA. So, people are predicting this is the off season for him. So, we kind of sort of should be looking. I'm sorry?
No, I said I hope not. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's some people that just want to be right. They'd rather be right than Randle have a good season. I'm not one of those guys. So, hopefully it's not the off season and he doesn't do well. With these last minute moves that got made with the Bucks, with the Celtics, and the way some of these other teams are playing, it's not looking as optimistic for me as it was looking earlier in the summer. So Randle's going to need to really turn it around for this team to advance as far as the team did last year. If Randle's not doing close to what he did last year, I mean, he's close to 11 rebounds, 5 assists. You just got to shoot a better field goal percentage and get the points up. But if he's not doing that, this team is going to be fortunate that it gets a play in, because these other teams in the East, I mean, it's obvious with Milwaukee and Boston, but the 76ers, even after the trade, look formidable. Indiana looks formidable. I mean, Orlando, I could see them sliding back down. The Cavs are a real team. So Charlotte, if they stay healthy, like, it's a real team. So, I mean, this could get ugly real quick if Randle don't tighten up.
Yeah, I agree with Ajay and DJ Shuttle. I think Randall's gonna have to come through, and even if that, going back to what Ajay said, if that means after the All-Star break, listen, as Knicks fans, we'll take it. I think he's one of the key players, that the Knicks are gonna need in order to win consistent games this season. Unfortunately, you can't leave Brunson to carry the team on his back. It's going to be too much. You're going to ask him to be getting an injury with him trying to do everything in his power. And Randall Brunson's that player where, if you notice last season in the playoffs, he was doing everything in his power to keep us in the game and to help us try to win those games. And like he did against Milwaukee. But I think that we're going to need Randall. It's vital in order to win, games, because unfortunately, it's true what Ajay was saying. If you have RJ step up, who else is going to step up behind him? You need your Quickly to step up. You need Grimes to step up. You need DiVincenzo to contribute to step up. These guys have to really step up and start shooting and making shots, because if Randall or Brunson has off games, who else, who steps up? You can't rely on the same two or three guys to be the hot hand, every night during the game. Somebody else is going to have to step up when our top key guys are off, or it's just not their night. And that's part of the game of basketball. Some games, Randall is not going to be his game. It may not be Brunson's game. It may not be RJ's game. But that's where I'm looking at guys like Grimes, which to me, Grimes, you're not a rookie anymore. I want to see more of what you did the other night and try to give us consistent points. We know you could do your thing on a defensive end, but I want to see a little bit more of that. But if we can get contributions from the other guys, I think the Knicks can make a nice push, but you are going to need Randall.
No doubt about it. How much do you think the front office rolled the dice on bringing back the same team, banking on continuity? Or do you think, no, not really, it was the right choice? I'm not sure how much was available. There was just no way to imagine that the team would shoot the way they're shooting coming out the gate.
No, I think they rolled the dice. And to me, I think the front office should have made some moves. I mean, because what we have right now is not it. It's not it. I think that, to me, in all honesty, I would keep Brunson. We know Quickly's going to go, because rightfully so. The Knicks didn't want to pay him. I don't blame the guy. He wants to go. And I like Quickly. But who do the Knicks really have? Let's be honest. Who do the Knicks really have that are consistent guys who can give you, top-notch play game in and game out? Not just on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. And the Knicks don't really have. Right. No. We don't really have anyone. This is not a strong squad, to be honest. And I feel bad for Brunson, not just singling him out, but he came here. And the reason why I say that is, and I kind of put DiVincenzo there too, in the same category. I think it goes back to what we were saying with the IQ. Some players have that level of IQ within their game where it's a different level than your standardized playing that you're doing, where you may make a couple of plays here and there, and you have a hot scoring night here and there. But when you have those players who have a different level of IQ, it puts you in a different level within the league. And to me, I just feel like we don't really have guys who are at that next level. We have guys who are good. These are professional guys, but they're not at that next level. You know what I mean? Like guys who can give you a little bit more. Who we just don't have that. I think we have a decent squad, but it's not where I could even say, no, this is a good team.
Right.
You know what I mean? And really be with confidence as a fan, like this Knicks team is going to bring it. We don't have those guys, and we don't have those players that to that next level that, you know, we just don't. And you know, I know GJ Shuttle, you just mentioned, sir, I want to see us beat teams like your Charlottes, your Orlandos, you know, these Detroits. These are teams that the Knicks should be beating every time we meet them. But it's about the consistency, and same thing with the back-to-back. So I really would have, I wish that the front office, and I feel like it's going to come after this season. They're definitely going to make some moves, but I wish it would have happened for this season.
Let me ask you a question before I move on, because Ajay chomping at the bit. I can see he can't even sit still. Do you think we don't have those guys because they haven't grown into it yet? Or do you feel like it's coming with some guys, or potentially coming with some guys? Or do you feel like the ceiling is not that high on some of these guys, period, even with a few more years of development?
I think it's the ceiling. But I also think that part of it is when the season is over, it's up to you being a professional player to hire the proper training staff to get you to that next level. Because you've been playing basketball all your life, but I truly believe that you can gain skill set and get you some moves under your belt that you can be able to bring for the next season, and certain things that you should be working on, even if that takes a few summers for you to get there and develop your game even more. But I think for a lot of the guys on the team, this is it. This is the ceiling. I think maybe they can take a few steps more, but to me, that's it. And I just think that that's not going to cut it for the Knicks. This is why the Knicks have been subpar. And I think part of it is also the front office. You know, the Knicks have this culture where a lot of times, this is why superstars don't want to come to the Knicks, because they come here and their careers, it doesn't flourish, you know, and it becomes like a toxicity amongst, you know, players want to come here and they may do great. And sometimes they don't, or they get injury prone, or they ride the bench. We used to give guys a whole bunch of money for them to sit down on the bench the whole season and warm up seats, you know, and I'm happy we're not doing that anymore. But I just think that for a lot of the guys on the team, this is their cap. This is their season. This is the furthest that they're going to go. We may see a little bit of improvement, but I use case in point guys like Grimes. I don't really see much of a difference. Yeah, you worked with guys in the off season, but I'm seeing the same things you were doing the last 2 seasons. You know, quickly looks like he got a little bit more comfortable with that floater shot and when he spins to the basket, but I don't really see. He looks a little bit more comfortable shooting the 3, but that's about it. RJ's good driving, but that's when he gets the ball and he's bringing it down and driving it down the lane and driving the ball, but I'm not seeing anything else that's making me go, wow, he really worked on his, you know, same thing even with Mitch. I'm not even asking for a lot. If he would have gave me a little floater, something so big, I didn't even want to see a whole bunch of footwork, but I don't see where on the off season, a lot of guys on the Knicks are getting trainers to work with them, not just on your workout regimen, but your game. And I'm not seeing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point. Ajay?
I think Lady and the Chef's trying to say we don't have any studs on our team. That's what she's saying. But Queen, you asked the question: did the Knicks, was it a risk for them to bring the same guys? Right. It was, but it was calculated. Okay, it wasn't. That's not what I would have done, and that's not what the fan base wanted to see them do. But you know, listen, we get DiVincenzo. Of course, we support the team. Like, yeah, DiVincenzo's gonna be great. But we all know that ain't it. All right. Let me tell you. So the front office, what is one thing that people say about Tom Thibodeau teams, right? Defensive Tom Thibodeau teams. They always have a slow start. Every season they start slow. Okay. Do you know how you counteract that? How, you know, the antidote for that? You keep the same guys together. That way they already know each other. So there's less chance of them starting slow because they've been playing, you know, together for a while. So that continuity that they floating around, I think that was the calculated move they made. we don't know that it's not going to work. I mean, right now it doesn't seem like it's working because, everything around us changed. Like all the other teams, everything changed. We just added DiVincenzo. That's it. But everybody else is making a whole lot of other move, putting pieces that fit better together. We don't know if it's going to work or not, but it is a risk, but it was calculated. It wasn't just, it's not because they're afraid to bring in other guys. I mean, they are, but that's not the only reason. The other reason, like I said, because they want to that continuity is to balance the slow start that Tom Thibodeau teams usually have. That's one way to prevent that.
Let me tell you another way. Get some dogs in here, and you're gonna risk chemistry in the beginning, but hopefully it comes together a bit down the line. The Knicks, obviously, the front office doesn't talk to the fan base, so we don't really know what direction they're going in. But I feel like the Knicks are like, and we've said this on the Thursday show. This is my team. This is my squad, and I'm not going to bring in somebody who might beat them out for a spot. Like for me, I just feel like if you can get some decent guys on the minimum, bring them in the training camp, roll the ball out, let it fall where it may. If Oubre beats out Grimes, then Oubre beats out Grimes. If Christian Wood beats out Josh Hart, Christian, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but they're minimum contracts. But I think for the Knicks, it's like, this is you in the winning phase or you in the development phase? Because when you're in the development phase, you're not going to bring in somebody that's going to take minutes from Grimes because you want to develop them. You're not going to bring in somebody that's going to take minutes from IQ because you want to develop them. But are you developing or are you trying to win? Because sometimes you can't do both. Or you could do both for a little bit, but then when you want to take it to the next level and them guys are not ready, what are you going to do? We're where we are right now. So I mean, you can argue the flip side of that is you can argue that they would have been willing to break up the chemistry and the continuity for a player that was worth it. I mean, that's the flip side. You can argue that. And they just didn't find a player that was worth them breaking up the continuity.
I
get it.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it. You want to, you want to make a move, but you don't, they've got certain relationships that are out there with certain players and certain agents, and they're just, keeping the phone lines warm, hoping that one of those situations pop off. And unless something, brings itself to the table that's going to be better than those deals that they have pending, allegedly, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna hold off on that because you figure, all right, well, worst case we keep the team together. We got good tradable contracts, and if we don't exceed expectations like last year, we'll get a deal done either during the season or during the off season. Because if this gets ugly, it'll be a fire sale before you could say in a New York minute.
But Shuttle, do you trust these guys to really make a deal?
I trust that the players that are on this team have contracts that are very tradable and could be strong assets to teams that are looking to make deep playoff runs. You know what I mean? Like, let's say something happened to Al Horford. You plug Randle in on Boston and place Al Horford with Tatum and Brown and the rest of that squad. Randle's a nice addition. Zion goes down to injury. The team's having a great season. You replace Zion with Randle on that team. It's a nice addition. So there's possibilities. There's possibilities everywhere. AD goes down. You replace him with Mitchell Robinson. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities on other teams that are more prepared to have deeper runs in the playoffs that could use some of these pieces that are going to be less focused driven as they are on the Knicks and more complimentary other places.
Right. But this ain't baseball,
where
Shuttle. This ain't baseball where you know you ain't gonna make the playoffs, so you sell off your best players, because I think the Knicks could still. I mean, I guess that's the question. Are we really saying that if the Knicks don't do well, we should just sell off and go back to the lottery and start over? Or do we still have enough assets that we can make some moves and get some different type of players in here and still continue our trajectory?
Listen, it depends on who needs what. Depends on who needs what, and it depends on where the team is at. Like I said, if it's getting ugly, if it's getting ugly, quickly is already as good as gone anyway. So that's one. To me, yeah, Mitch is getting some nice rebounds, and I'd be sorry to see him go a little bit, but he could go. I mean, Randle's got a very tradable contract. If you get a good young player and some good draft picks, depends on what the situation is. I mean, he's not. If the team is going to be nosediving this season, and he's flip flopping every other year, and you're concerned about his emotional stability, I mean, at some point you got to hand the keys to Brunson and hire IQ type players, and you got to surround him with some better players to make it a better fit.
Better players, because I don't know if I'm ready to go back to the lottery. That's just me. If you're going to trade off these assets, get some better players in here.
All I'm saying is that if Randle don't turn it around, and if the team collectively doesn't turn it around, this could be lottery, trade or no trade. You can keep the same team and it could be lottery, is what I'm saying, Steph.
I mean, listen, Randle's a big part of what we do. If Randle, even in Randle's bad year, he was still 20-10. I don't see us going to the lottery if he's on the team. But I hear you. It wouldn't be the team.
His bad year. We went to the lottery.
Yo, yeah, we did. You're right. We did.
I'm only saying what you're saying, Steph.
Yeah, you're right. He did. Anybody want to say anything at 7:16? I want to get into this week's games. Anybody have anything else to say about anything about the season thus far? Player, coach, offense, defense, front office. We always leave the front office out. I think we got to start bringing the front office in.
Why? we where we are because of them.
Yeah, that's why she want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, we always leave them out when we're talking about the team.
We gotta put them to the top of the minutes next episode, Steph.
Yep. I agree. We gotta talk about a whole show about the front office.
Right. And we got receipts on the run it back fans too. Run it back. I want to see what this team can do. Run it back. We could be the Detroit Pistons of 2003.
Huh.
And I'll say even championship contenders try to improve their teams. Even championship, those who win the championship, they still try to, improve their team.
And that's the mentality of winners. Exactly. No matter how good you are, no matter how great your season was, you focus on something else you can do to be better than you were last year. But let's get into this week's game, Steph.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
Shuttle. It's only game 6, so 7. Okay.
Hey, listen. I'm not having good vibes.
Well, this is the Eastern Conference. Boston has yet to lose. Philly, who we all thought would be a hot mess without Harden, is 4-1. Maxey doing his thing out there. Shout out to those who drafted Maxey in the fantasy basketball. Atlanta 4-2. Orlando Magic 4-2. Milwaukee 3-2. Brooklyn 3-3. In the Eastern Conference and in the Western Conference, there are teams with high expectations who are struggling. Teams who you didn't think much of, kind of coming out the gate really strong. Anybody you see who you feel like they're going to be better than their record, and anybody you're looking at that you feel like, nah, I don't think they're going to be able to hold that spot?
That would be Miami will be better. and Orlando will not be that good. I don't see the other 6 teams in the top 6, and then including Indiana and Cleveland right behind them. I feel like that's a very reasonable top eight group if you take Orlando out of there and you replace it with Miami. That's what I'm saying. Like, this Knicks team could easily be a play-in and not make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I can't look at those rest of those teams and say, oh no, the Knicks are superior. The Knicks are superior to the Indiana Pacers. I can't say that.
Because
I can't say that.
listen. I mean, I get it in terms of how we're playing right now. We look like we should be 15. So I definitely get it. But if because remember, Brunson hasn't played well either. You know, he had that decent game against Milwaukee, but prior to that, he was shooting just 38% on the season as well. Get into his spots, missing chippies. But I think if Brunson and Randle correct themselves, come on.
Yeah,
We'll be better than Indiana. But I get you. The way we looking right now, I get you.
Indiana's not shabby. I'm not calling them world beaters, but they're nothing to overlook.
But last season, Orlando, even though they didn't win a lot of games, they were just coming up short.
Right.
They were tough.
You know, they're a quick team. They Paolo he's a great player. I liked what I saw with Orlando last season. They were just coming up short a lot of games. So I think this season, you know, they may surprise us and actually be in like the top 8. My thing is with the Knicks, you don't want to fall into the 6th, 7th, 8th seed, you know, when we start getting close to the playoff season. So I think the Knicks need to try to focus on being at least that 4th, maybe 5th seed, because you don't want to have to face that number 1, number 2 seed and, you know, try to have to do like what Miami did and knock teams out. But I do think that the Knicks definitely are gonna slide down in the standings as the season goes on. But yeah, I don't. The only
We're gonna
team
slide down further than we are now. We
Slide down.
11.
We're gonna fall off the standing completely.
We 11 right now.
slide further up, rather. I meant to
Oh,
say.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, same thing with Cleveland. I see them sliding further up.
Yeah,
Orlando back.
Right.
The Nets, we'll see. But yeah, as far as the Knicks, yeah, I don't see them staying, you know, 10th, 11th, 12th. They'll definitely improve on that for sure.
I agree with that. I think in the East, definitely the Knicks and Cleveland are probably gonna, climb up the standing a little bit. And in the West, we know Memphis is not going to be rock bottom like they are right now. So it's only a matter of time. And OKC too, Oklahoma City, they either 9th or 10th or whatever. But I expect them to be, maybe not in the playoffs and not to play in. They got a pretty good squad over there, OKC. And I think this year they're probably going to take that next step.
Yeah, no doubt. And to Lady in the Chef's point, Orlando Magic was 500 either after the All-Star break or was it after January 1st? They had a 500 record. So they may even finish in the play-in, you know? I mean, if not higher than that. All right, this week's game, we play the Clippers tonight, 7:30, the Spurs on Wednesday, and Charlotte, there's an early game. I believe it's a 12 p.m. game. We play Charlotte at Madison Square Garden. The Clippers are 3-2. The Spurs are 3-3. Charlotte is 2-4. I know Rozier got hurt. I don't know if he'll be back by the time we play Sunday. The Clippers are 6th in the Western Conference. The Spurs right now are 7th in the Western Conference. I don't know how long they'll hold on to that. They really wasn't expected to be great. But Wembanyama is playing that entire team is playing well, actually. And Charlotte is 10th. As far as offensive and defensive rating, we're playing the Clippers tonight. They're top 10, basically top 5 in offense and defense and net rating. a really, really tough team. Let me just get to their projected starting lineup: Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Zubac. Um, that's a offensive juggernaut, team right there. Now, maybe Harden may have some, maybe he'll be off a little bit. They still have to gel. Though this is the third time Westbrook and Harden have played together. RJ Barrett's defense has been better. Matter of fact, if you look at the Knicks on-off numbers, the Knicks defensively, as far as effective field goal opponents, effective field goal percentage is worse when RJ Barrett is on the court. So his defense has been better this season, but he's gonna have his hands full with either Paul George of ain't no hiding when you put Grimes on, the best perimeter defender, and then RJ Barrett can slack off, and there ain't no slacking up and down. And that includes Jalen Brunson. Maybe you can hide Brunson on Harden and they can go at each other.
That's what I expect.
But I think they're going to have, Westbrook, Paul George, Kawhi on Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's going to have to work today. Maybe we can hide Brunson on Harden tonight. Then
I'm sorry, Queen. If you could just go back to that prior slide, or not, it's fine. Your boys, RJ and Randle. Oh man, they better get some pride tonight. They better get some pride. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They better get some Henny courage before the game. Have the Wheaties, Gatorade, everything, because like this is one of the matchups, man, where it's like, man, like y'all really, really better understand what y'all facing here. Like you said, RJ, there's no hiding. Randle, sheesh, George or Leonard, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do for you. You pick your poison. Like it looks terrible. Maybe we should just play a zone.
Forget that.
Listen, that's
we've been calling for that for a while.
That's a tough lineup, man.
That is a tough lineup.
I mean, it's matchup problems at every position for us right now. That game, so I don't know how. If we win that one, it's just luck. I mean, a lot of things have to go our way, man. A lot of calls got to go our way. A lot of rebounds got to bounce. Like the 50-50 balls got to come our way. It's, that's a tough. Even with James Harden like being his first game, that's just tough.
Right. And somebody pointed out, rightfully so, you try to hide Jalen Brunson on Harden. Harden can hang 40 on you as well.
Yeah, and you know how these players come to the Garden and try to put on a show. He done got traded, first game is already lined up perfectly for Harden to come in here and go dumb.
Yeah, he wants to show he still got it, and
Right.
he's poor Jalen Brunson's gonna be in the crossfire.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Then we play the Spurs. They're 18th in offense, 26th in defense, 28th in net rating, but we don't know which Knicks team is going to show up. We're struggling ourselves, so we can't really look at their offense and defensive rating and feel really good going into that game, right? Then Charlotte, on Sunday they're 2-4. They lost their last game. They're 11th in offense, so their offense is pretty good. 28th in defense, 24 in net rating. I mean, what the Knicks have going for them is, up to this point, the defense have kept them in games so that they're winnable. If we can get good defense, our shooting comes along, there's a chance. But
so
tonight, the foul shooting as well.
Foul shooting. Oh, it's been atrocious.
Yeah. Mitch is going to have his. Well, actually, Wembanyama is actually playing a forward, and Zach Collins is playing the center. So, Randle, there's no hiding Randle. Leonard, Wembanyama, PJ Washington.
Yeah, but Mitch will probably be on Webb, right?
I think it's going to be a challenge because both Collins and Wembanyama can hit the three. they can play away from the basket, and that's been a challenge for our bigs, whether it's Mitch or Hartenstein.
Right.
You know, um, the Hornets, they have Ball. Miller's the rookie because Rozier was injured. I don't know. He might be back by that time. Hayward has been playing well. PJ Washington is playing okay. He's up. He has good games and not so good game. And then Mark Williams, the second year big. I anticipate, particularly against the Clippers and the Hornets, Mitchell Robinson should not get outplayed between those two. The Spurs, I just feel the issue is just that we have trouble guarding stretch bigs. Any particular matchup that concerns you or that you're looking forward to with either the Clippers, the Spurs, or the Hornets? And what's your predictions for this week?
For me, it's the Clippers and Spurs. I would like to see the Knicks take all three, but if we can go 2-1, I'll be happy with that. I think the key, especially for tonight's matchup, is on the defensive end, our bigs not stepping away from the paint. Because what's going to happen is, and this has been killing the Knicks all season, all last year. Mitch steps up, Hartenstein steps up. That guard, he dumps the ball down. They get an easy layup or easy dunk. So I think the key is guys, and I understand Mitch and Hartenstein are trying to help on the defensive end. So guys are going to have to really stay on their man, guard the perimeter three, and Mitch, Hartenstein are going to have to stay down low and really be down in the paint to be ready to grab that defensive rebound.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Listen, tonight's tough, man. I'm gonna keep staying there, Queen, because, and you showing the starting lineup, and I was thinking about this guy. The bench is just as tough. Their bench, they have a bench,
and we don't.
No, we do, but not.
How are they playing? How are they playing? Josh Hart has been
chill hustle.
Yeah. Listen, if we win tonight's game, it's a bonus. All right.
Yeah.
But I mean, Charlotte Hornet, I think we could probably pull that one off.
Mm-hmm.
And San Antonio is a toss-up, simply because you're right. We do have problem guarding stretch fives, and that kid, he's a problem. Wembanyama. I mean,
he is.
He's a problem, man. When he's on from that 3-point line, man, he's on. If we can't check him on that 3-point line, man, we're in trouble. So I don't know what's going to happen with that.
But Ajay, not even a 3-point line. This is somebody who's going to get the rebound and bring it up the court.
Yeah.
Who is staying in front of him as he's bringing the ball up the court? Mitch?
Yeah, no, he's a problem.
Hartenstein?
Yeah.
Nah, this guy Webb dunked it from outside of the dotted off of a rebound, barely jumped, and the guy just looked like, yo, and it's like, I mean, I just look at what Porzingis just did last week, and I feel like, Webb is right in line for a similar type of game. I think he'll be underestimated, and he's gonna surprise teams. I don't know. I'm most anticipating this Clippers matchup though, because I found that Randle, for whatever reason, plays up to the level of the competition, and when he's playing better players, he plays harder. I remember when KD was on Brooklyn, I see him really locking in on defense one-on-one. Now, asking him to play off the ball defense and not so great. But man on man, so I'm looking forward to see if he got some pride tonight and he steps up, whether he's on Leonard or George, or if he's gonna let them come here and embarrass him.
Yeah, that's a good point. What's your prediction for the week?
I'm going to say Clippers tonight. I'm going to say Spurs take it to the next game, and we take it versus the Hornets. So a 1-2 week. Consistency. 1-2.
Ajay, did you say?
No, I'm pretty 1 and 2. I'm hoping 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Um,
You don't want to sweep.
no, we. I don't. I mean, listen. Like I said, if we win tonight's game, that's a bonus. Because I don't see. I
So
mean,
you saying? Oh, so you saying 2-1, or you saying 1-2?
no 1 and. No, I'm my bad. 2-1. I'm sorry. 2-1. Two
Oh,
and one. You're right. But I'm saying, well, I mean, I kind of went in order that they are. The next game we're gonna lose the next game, and we're probably gonna win the next 2 games. That's actually how I was saying.
Okay.
So I don't see how we could beat the Clippers. You never know. It's the NBA. Things can happen, but
Right.
it's not a good matchup for us. The Spurs, we have a chance. The Hornet, we should beat. I think. So I'm hoping if we lose tonight, we win the next 2.
Yeah. I have us 1-2. I think we should beat the Hornets. I don't have us beating the Clippers. I don't have us beating the Spurs. Can we beat the Clippers and the Spurs? Absolutely. Absolutely we can. RJ is back. That's gonna help. Maybe they had 3 days, no, 3 or 2 days off. 2 days off. Hopefully that helps. Uh, I don't know. I have 1-2. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button so you'll be notified anytime we go live. We got the pregame, postgame, and the shoot around with Sim. He actually did a pregame, I think around 3:30 earlier. He's gonna be back tonight for the postgame, the NBA wrap up with Ron and Still Knicks fans, the controversy with Josh, aka Uncle Fulio, the Losers Lounge. Hopefully there'll be a Losers Lounge tonight with Tony Crow of Knicks and Bruisers, where he kind of, you know, pulls up, comments by the losing teams, see what they say, losing teams fans. It's a pretty good show. I actually enjoy it. Live shows and videos by International Andy whenever he feels like it. Queen's Court with yours truly of Dope Soul Sports Talk. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification button. And of course, we have special programming and events by Sam. Spread love. It's the Dope Soul and Queen's Court way. 2 Knicks chicks. We got one of them here today, Lady and the Chef. Subscribe to the channel. Just go to your browser and search for 2 Knicks chicks, just like that. Okay? We should get 25, at least 25 more subscribers right now.
I subscribe tonight.
All right, there we go. There we go,
I,
DJ Shuttle.
I subscribed a couple of weeks ago when you first said it.
All right, there we go. There we
And
go.
let's not forget to hit the likes button on the way out.
Exactly.
Before we go check out the game.
Hit the like button on the way out for sure. Thanks for watching. You can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at BKSteph33. You can subscribe to Dope Soul Sports and Knicks Talk if you like the way I give it up. Every morning after the Knicks play, I do a morning recap show, though tomorrow I may not do it. I got a long day tomorrow. And that's it. Any last words before we get out of here?
Let's have a great week.
Yeah.
I won't be in town next week, Steph.
Okay.
I got a little trip to
Okay.
Orlando.
Okay.
Jada Kiss in Orlando, DJ Shuttle. We're gonna be out there shaking it up. So
there you go.
Holding it down.
Appreciate you. DJ Shuttle every Friday night on 108 Soul, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. doing his thing. If you went to that old school R&B hip hop, is it old school? I guess you consider it old school.
Throwback.
Throwback.
We don't want to put old on nobody.
Right. That's the place to be Friday nights between 8 and 10, 108. So until next time, family.